Now then, it is almost 21 years since young choir boy Aled Jones shot to fame with the Snowman's all-time Christmas classic, Walking in the Air. And to celebrate over 20 years in show business, Aled has kindly offered to perform a very special duet this morning with himself later on in the show. What's all that about?
It could send you to rehab, I'll warn you now, okay? It's very scary. It's almost the effects of 21 years of drinking wine, the before and after, you know, the fresh-faced youth, and then me.
So you decided to mix the two of you together when you were this little boy and now a man?
Absolutely. Well, you know, for the last 20 years, everyone keeps singing Walking in the Air at me every Christmas. And Howard Blake, the composer, came up with the idea of it being a duet because actually it is a snowman and a boy. I won't go into too much detail, honestly.
It's a story I've never heard.
No, I haven't either, honestly. And we went into the studio and it's worked really, really well. It's something I've always been proud of. People have said to me, oh, you must hate the snowman, you must hate Walking in the Air. It's furthest from the truth, you know. It's a beautiful tune. I'm just glad I sang it in tune myself when I recorded it.
Well, exactly. You recorded it actually after the film, which had another young boy.
Another boy did it Peter Orty, who's also singing now as an adult. He's in opera, I think, yeah.
So it was his song, and then you were allowed to record it, and it went off to number 5.
In 5 in the pop charts, yeah.
And there you were on Top of the Pops.
Oh, don't. It was the most embarrassing day of my life, because, you know, I've always watched Top of the Pops, and there I was in the studio, and I thought, how are they going to dance to Walking in the Air? But these professional dancers came in, got their lighters out and swayed a bit. It was fine.
It's a song that has been incredibly good to you, though, isn't it? It's taken you all over the world.
It has, yeah. Well, you know, I stopped singing when my voice broke, funny enough, but I've been really lucky to come back and sing again as an adult and record again as an adult. And, yeah, it's opened so many doors for me. But everyone says that, you know, Walking in the Air was one of the first things I did as an adult. But by the time I'd done Walking in the Air, I'd released 16 albums. So it was one of the it was Spitting Image got it so right when they had me in a studio and they said, we've got 10 minutes before Aled Jones's voice breaks, that's another 15 albums, come on, get in there. With a man with very big boots,
but how much pressure was there on you at that time?
Well, you know more than anyone, because I knew you back then as well. That there wasn't any, because it was only me and Pavarotti doing it, you know, singing this sort of music. I remember signing to Virgin Records and Branson himself saying, we haven't got a clue how to sell your records, so we'll sell them as we do a Phil Collins or a Genesis album or whatever. Nowadays, you know, the classical business is a lot more complex than it was. So there was no pressure. And also, you know, I was 13 years old with a really bad haircut and everyone wanted to go, oh...
Exactly, well, we still do.
Oh, thank you, I like that. That's what I was hoping for then.
But your first release was Memory from Cats.
Yeah, one of the first.
And you sang that for the Queen.
Yeah, I know where you're going for this one.
Yes,
yeah.
so tell us where I'm going.
I forgot the words. To Memory. Great, fantastic.
In front of the Queen?
Yeah, that was the only pressured occasion of my life as a boy.
Where were you at the time?
I was in the Playhouse in Edinburgh. And I remember it was a Royal Variety, so, you know, being beamed to millions of houses. And I remember the director saying, you look stupid with the words in front of you. Oh. And I went, OK. So off I went on stage, sang the first verse, and I remember in the introduction to the second verse it goes ding, 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 looking at the exit sign, lit up in red, thinking to myself, don't know what's next. Haven't got a clue what's next. So I made up the words, and they were terrible. It was like something like, I can hear the choir singing, they are singing alone. I can hear them singing beautiful songs, and the memory lingers on. But underneath, my legs are going, and I'm completely wrecked.
Well, that sounds reasonable. Who would have known that? Did they spot it?
Well, I cracked a bit. I cracked in my face. It's pure fear. You know, and literally my mouth is dry. And so the next day the press were like saying, oh, his voice is going to break in a couple of hours or whatever, and I got 4 years out of that.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
And the Queen didn't come up to you afterwards and go, do you know, that was absolute rubbish?
Yeah, she's never spoken to me since. She was so insulted. Honestly, I had a recurring dream after that as a boy that I'd forgotten my words and she'd just say, off to the tower with him, you know, out with his larynx.
And then you sang as well to the Prince and Princess of Wales at Kensington Palace.
That was such a highlight of my life, you know, being personally invited up there and sitting in their living room with all their personal photos, and Charles coming in and my mother being very, very nervous. He said, would you like a drink? And she was going, coffee, tea, water? And he went, gin? She went, yes, gin, you know, and they were just fabulous people. But I used to have my hair cut by Princess Diana's hairdresser. Very similar they were.
Really?
Yeah, if you look back, yeah, very similar.
You look very like
so this album is the sort of a great album of your memories and sort of favourite stuff.
Absolutely, but it's actually music of as an adult. You know, I've released 5 albums with Universal. I've been very lucky, and the best of is the collection of all of them, but with the Walking in the Air duet. And, you know, it's never been performed before, so it's the first time this morning on that. And the reason I bought a best-of album, because if people say, best of, that's it, you're dead, is I've just signed another 6-album deal with Universal, so I'm going to be singing for, you know, the
Still
next
presenting Songs of Praise, are you?
Still presenting Songs of Praise and
by
Radio 2 and everything.
44 million people.
Yeah, I know. Someone told me that before a live Songs of Praise for the Jubilee. The director said, yeah, don't mess it up because it's been watched by 44 million people. And I was like,
around the world.
Great, OK. But thankfully I didn't. But I love doing that. You know, it's a programme that's done really well. I spend 4 days making one half an hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
People don't realise, and, you know, you get people coming up to you saying, oh, do you do it live? And you're like, no. You know, it's...
Are your children showing signs of singing?
Emilia, my 4.5-year-old, going on 44,
Yes.
I have to wave at her because she gets really upset if I don't say hello on television. Doesn't quite understand why. But yeah, she sings a lot. Lucas is too young. He's 19 months and all he wants to do is play with Brum and cars.
Well, who doesn't? Brum is
But
lovely.
they'll love the panto.
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to it. I couldn't be closer to home. I'm doing Jack and the Beanstalk with, I know, Marlene and Boise, who came on recently, and Tim Vine and everyone. And it's such a fantastic cast.
It's in Richmond.
It's in Richmond, you know. It's perfect in a way. And I sing a few numbers, do a bit of dancing.
Are you Jack?
I am Jack, yeah.
Careful on that beanstalk.
I know, I'm hoping to lose a bit of weight going up, you know, twice a day.
Jeanette Cranky fell off the beanstalk.
Well, she
didn't
did.
Oh, yeah, and how? Really injured herself. But honestly, you know, I mentioned Walking in the Air and people talking about that every Christmas. The only Christmas people didn't talk about it is when I did Strictly Come
Dancing.
Hiding Behind a Russian. I can't really say dancing, but, you know...
You came fourth, though, didn't you?
It's a miracle. I knew I presented Songs of Praise for a reason.
we was talking about... Oh, well, that's a perfect link from Songs of Praise to Naked Calendars. Here we go.
I haven't got one of those.
We've got to know you haven't.
Have you not?
No, not yet.
Oh, we tried to find one.
We've got a couple here. So
I haven't seen these.
I've interviewed a couple of the Calendar girls, actually. I thought they were incredible.
They are
They're lovely
brilliant. They've been
girls,
in here
aren't
a couple
they?
of
Yeah.
times. This is
Are these like naked people now you're showing
yes,
me?
Yes.
the Healed Green Theatre Company, Gately Cheadle in Cheshire, first amateur theatre to do fundraising calendar girls calendar, and our Kirsty in today is her mum is Miss December. There she is. Look, ta-da!
Oh,
Thank you.
that's a
Not
saucy
not
one.
entirely naked. There's November. Oh, she's slinking behind the chair. Lovely. There's Claire, who's Miss
This is just as
October.
wrong at this time in the morning.
No, it's not. Nothing wrong with that.
Lovely. Well,
Right, what
right,
have you
this is the Thurston Football Club calendar. After the match, the boys like to have a quick wash.
Does nothing for me, that one, I have
Does
to
it
tell you,
not?
sorry.
Oh, and they're little devils. Look at that one.
Here's the Tynemouth Lodgers. They've crossed it out. It's the Tynemouth Todgers now, and there's Mr. January, and propping up the bar there.
They should be the Tynemouth Codgers, shouldn't they?
Good Lord. There you go. Heavens above.
Loving
so
it.
we've got
We
loads
do,
of them.
yes.
So we'll do some more. We'll do some more a little bit later on. Thank you very much
Oh, good
indeed.
heavens! This man needs
sending them
waxing.
in.
There we are. Have a look at that one.
He's chopping his chili there, isn't he?
He does, but he's
That's what I imagine David Guest to look like under his clothes.
he's very furry. Keep you warm at night. He will.
Alan, thank you very much indeed.
It's a pleasure. I
you're
feel like
shocked
I need
now, aren't
counselling
you?
myself now after that last couple of minutes, actually.
And we'll very
We'll
much
see you
look
later.
forward to this novel, exclusive moment of you singing with yourself.
Especially for you.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
We'll see you
Thanks,
later.
Alice.